Our next question is going to be with Herman Robinson, coming back this way, and then finishing up with Tom Copeland. And the question is a 30-second question, timekeepers. I know it's a quick one, and it's about a short topic, the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, something I know a little about.
Did you say 30 minutes? Or?
Yeah, I know, it's going to be a long one. All right, candidates, do you think that the CRA is an asset, or do you think it's time to sunset it? Herman Robinson.
Not an easy question. The CRA is in existence because it is effective being not political. It's also a problem because it's not political. It's difficult to develop by committee. When we expect the entire community to have input into any project, there's a lot of people that are not going to be happy. The CRA is doing its job. It was an award-winning $23 million investment in Lake Worth, and they're continuing to bring investors to Lake Worth.
Thank you. Kathy Turk.
30 seconds.
I know.
It's a quick one. Okay, so the CRA has obviously been an asset to this city. I think it's scheduled to sunset in 2030, and I think that by that time it's time for it to go. I think that we need to set parameters, we need to set goals for them, and at 2030, then we need to look at saying goodbye. And perhaps we bring some of those people in and we create a different type of organization within our city. But that's my opinion on the CRA.
Yeah.
The CRA is unquestionably an asset. Its board is comprised of some of the most professional people in Palm Beach County. Brent Whitfield, who won Florida Engineer of the Year, is on that board. Chris Pettit, who works for the county, is on that board. They've done a phenomenal job. I wasn't here in 2008 and 9, but I do know that the city was on the ropes at that time, and it was the CRA that worked with the housing leadership of the Housing Leadership Council of Palm Beach County, on whose board of directors I serve, that went out and got a $23 million grant that kept this city afloat, the NSP2 grant. And there are people living in these homes today. We need the CRA. Also, their tax money comes to us rather than coming.
Okay, Richard Garcia.
Obviously, the CRA has done some good stuff, but here's where I have a problem. They go out and they spend $900,000 for a building that someone's going to come in and redevelop, and they sell it to that person for $125,000. Things like that, and I'm a financial guy, just blows my mind. I know they do some good stuff, but that money, the CRA is permitted to have police presence in their district. That's per cat and bear, by the way. So I can see $1.8 million for 2 buildings. That's 13 deputies, right? Add a little bit more money out of the general fund. We have 5 deputies per shift in the CRA district.
Thank you. Dr. Copeland.
So I will echo what I'm hearing tonight. The CRA is definitely an asset. It can work faster than the city can. The CRA can create incentives that the city cannot do. And they are an incredible team, to echo Commissioner Hardy's comments, not just the CRA board, but the CRA staff as well. So they're an absolute asset to our city. One of the things that I'd like to take a look into, and we've had these conversations with the CRA, is looking into possibly doing some redistricting. That is a possibility, so I'd be interested in looking into that as well prior to the sunset. Thank you.
All right, we got everyone this time? I was hoping I didn't leave anyone out. All right, we have a 1-minute question. Utilities. It's a perfect 1-minute question. Okay, we're going to start with Tom Copeland, go to Richard Garcia, Amari Hardy, Kathy Turk, Herman Robinson on this one. It's a long question.
Great.
The Electric Utilities Director, along with the Electric Utility Advisory Board, negotiated a new power purchase agreement that will save the city over $20 million over the next 7 years. Question. Very recently, the city manager put the volunteer board on hiatus and instead will hold monthly Electric Utility Commission meetings. Do you agree with and are you prepared for this change? Or do you feel that there should still be Citizens Oversight Board on our largest income generating asset?
Wow, good one. What a zinger. You said no more zingers. That's a great one.
Zing.
Yeah, so the purchase power agreement is an incredible, it's going to do incredible things for the city. It is going to allow us, to Mr. DeGursio's point, it is going to allow us to reinvest back into our grid. I want to say a couple of things about this because I was there for a few of those meetings when that occurred. And I would say that the City Commission does need to be more involved in it. It is our city's most important asset, and it is our city's biggest driver of tax revenue outside of our property taxes. That's incredibly important to understand. So I do see the Commission needing to be more involved. However, I would say that citizen-led advisory boards, having sat on one, having been the chair of one, most recently in November 2018, are an incredible asset. When the citizens can be at the table and they can guide, they can help to shape and guide policy for the people that make the decisions, that's a huge plus. I would say that instead of sunsetting, I like the idea of possibly restructuring and repurposing that citizen advisory board so that they're not necessarily useless. We can find uses for them, and I will be a strong proponent of making sure that all advisory boards, especially the EUAB, is involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Richard Curcio.
The city has taken on the role of the Electric Utility Advisory Board, right? That they're supposed to have meetings once a month. They've had one meeting so far. So to sunset the board now or to put them on hiatus, I think is a mistake. There's a lot of history in that board. You go into Lisa Maxwell's head, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. That girl knows what she's talking about, and I think that's a valuable asset to the city. I think advisory boards in general are generally dismissed by the city. We waste our time out there, as far as I'm concerned, with the city just blowing them off and not doing anything with it. I feel with my background, my understanding of the utility, you ask better questions, you get better answers. You get better answers, you get better analysis. And I ask those better questions. And I think that this is one of the main reasons I should be sitting in that chair. We have a lot of challenges going forth with the utility and the grid, and I'm the best experienced one here to deal with that.
I understand that the city manager would like the city commission to take a more involved role in the electric utility, but I do not think that we should use more involvement from the city commission as an excuse basically to sunset what has probably been one of the more constructive boards in the history of the city. I mean, I would put the Electric Utility Advisory Board up there with planning and zoning, up there with historic resources and preservation. That board does great work. As a matter of fact, this power purchase agreement would not have been able to have been accomplished had we not changed our procurement process to involve this board, which includes people with tons of experience and expertise in this particular area. Here's the thing. I think it's very important that the city commission set the course for this city. I understand that the city manager drives the bus, but it's the city commission that tells the city manager where it is that he's supposed to go. And I can tell you, we have not had one discussion on the dais about sunsetting this board, and I think that it needs to stop immediately. As far as I'm concerned, we haven't changed the ordinance that governs this board. They need to be meeting as of February. That's my belief. It's an extraordinarily constructive board. Thank you.
Kathy.
So I had the pleasure of meeting with Ed Liberty last week, and I put out a video absolutely butchering his lesson he gave me on electricity. But the new contract is a great thing for the city, and I do appreciate the advisory board being there and working on that and helping with that. I do think that leaving people in limbo, not knowing whether they're going to meet or not meet or what their purpose is just rude. It's disrespectful to the people who've gotten us to this place. I think that, that flag, it's so distracting. Okay, so anyway, I do believe that we do need to keep it. Perhaps it needs to be refocused. We need to at least show these people respect, bring the powwow together. What is it we want from them? What is it we expect from them? And move forward. Thank you.
It's a matter of communication. We have professionals. I don't think anybody on any of the boards are actually, well, I take that back. There are professionals on the boards, but we have to understand that we have a staff that is professional. But the problem is in communication. And if the citizens don't feel engaged and involved, and the communication from the city, it generates a bad feeling. I was very instrumental in keeping our Leisure Services Board. So that's how important I think the boards are. But again, these people are professional. They're doing a good job. 7 years from now, when Mr. Liberty's fantastic negotiations come to a new day, we're going to have some really serious questions about maintaining our own electric.
All right. Everyone got their chance on that one? 2-minute question. Timekeepers. Zinger alert. Topic. Parking. We're going to start with Kathy Turk, Amari Hardy, Richard Curcio, Tom Copeland, and then Herman Robinson to finish. Downtown Lake Worth is such a popular destination that parking is becoming an issue. What are your thoughts about building a parking garage, installing parking meters, and extending the purpose of resident beach decals to include free downtown parking? If this goes forward, should this be a pending sales tax project or a CRA endeavor? Go.
Wow. All right, so first of all, I think we do need a parking czar, because there's different parking needs and different parking problems in different areas of the city, and we need one person who understands all of them and not just the beach. As far as the downtown, to be really honest, I have never had a problem parking in our downtown. I'm not cool enough to hang out on a Friday night at 11 or 12, but I have never had a problem. And maybe it's because I'm a resident and I know where to park. I know our businesses are saying that we have a problem. I believe them. If we're going to do a parking garage, I again would be okay with that. I just want to see the plans. I want to see the numbers. I want to know that it's economically sustainable before we do that. And if there was something about the CRA in there, I believe that the houses purchased for this parking were in the CRA district. So we will at least be partnering with the CRA if in fact that property is going to be used for that purpose. Thank you.
I actually agree with my opponent. I don't think that we have a parking problem. A parking problem is not what happens when you have to maybe walk a block on a Saturday night. That's a once-a-week problem. As the old saying goes, you don't build a church for Easter Sunday, and you don't create parking solutions in a downtown for a Saturday night. I think what we can do is, you know, before we go off on the parking garage direction, we need to figure out, are there assets already in place that we can use more flexibly? For example, if you go to the parking lot right behind First Avenue South, there's a church, and that church has no vehicles parked in it at night, and there are, guess what, 137 empty parking spots there. Rather than spending your tax dollars building a parking garage that cannot then be unbuilt, perhaps we should approach this church and try to lease their 137 parking spots. Perhaps we should approach the Wells Fargo and try to lease their parking spots, and the same for TD Bank. And perhaps we should have signage, wayfinding signage for these parking spots and attendance so that we can let people know that there's overflow parking in this area. Now, as regards to CRA, if we do go the parking garage route, I think the CRA is the best entity to handle that. Because of the charter, there are issues with the city buying and holding land and doing things. And so the CRA is empowered to create public-private partnerships. Okay, and if we go that route, that's what it is that I think we should do. I think we should partner with someone who can perhaps build a parking garage with some residential associated with it and make sure that there are parking spaces available to the public in that garage. And guess what? We only pay for the land, right? We don't pay for the actual construction of the parking garage. That's the direction that I think we should go if we decide to use a parking garage. But we should seek options that give us more flexibility and that are cheaper, for example, like renting those 137 parking spots in the church behind downtown. Thank you.
Richard Curcio.
I am one of the cool kids who hangs out on a Friday night at 10 o'clock. And I maybe have to go around the block once or twice. Michelle can tell you that. I mean, and the car is always parked within range of where I am. If it's a block, if it's two, big deal. It's downtown Lake Worth. I think for the older folks that come here, that come to the theater and what have you, you get this clog up right here in front of the theater, as a matter of fact, the valet parking. So if those 137 spaces could be used maybe for valet parking, and so just around the corner, that's a great idea. I don't think that we really need to build parking garages. If we do go that way, and Marty's right, we should use the CRA to do it. There's actually a lot right behind here that would make a great little two-story garage right behind us here. And just add another level of that, that would be as close as I would want to do that. That's it.
All right, so a couple of things. So I'm a guy who starts with data. We do have a parking program that, we do have a parking study that came out in October 2018 that shows for a fact we absolutely have a parking problem in downtown. You can also see it if you walk into the businesses in downtown and spend a little time talking to the businesses. I encourage my commissioners, whoever's elected, to please do that. Go talk to these business owners, because they will give you story after story after story. We do have a wayfinding problem in downtown, there's no question about that. We have signs that say free parking with no arrow. You have no idea where it is. The answer to this is that we need a parking program, not a parking garage necessarily, although I am in favor of a parking garage, but a parking garage framed into a comprehensive plan for what our downtown is going to be going forward, okay? The idea of using a church is a temporary solution to an immediate permanent problem. I do go downtown too. I do talk to the owners. It is a problem. This is not a CRA project, though it is in the TRA district. And we do have a SAR, I'm excited to say. We have Larry Lightfoot. This guy knows parking like you wouldn't believe. This guy lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes parking. So I am in favor of parking garage because it does solve a long-term problem. We're not going to have flying cars in the next 5 years. But you know what we do have right now? We have people that drive into our downtown from out of town. They stay on the thoroughway. Okay, they look around, they see no parking, they look down alleyways, they look a little bit dark, they don't see any wayfinding, you know what they do? U-turn and they leave. And I am not willing to allow that to happen anymore. We have got to make sure that we are allowing people to come into our city and find their way into our downtown. We can't on one say that we don't need any parking, we don't need to look at any parking, we're all good, let's use churches. And on the other hand, talk about how dead our downtown is. You can't have those two things. We need a comprehensive plan for parking in downtown, like every other city in Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Yeah, parking is a problem, because if you can't find the space, then it's a problem for you. Perception is reality when you can't find the space. We're lucky enough to know our town and where to park, but the future takes, Del Rey's, sudden success was 20 years in the making, and we got to start with land for parking. A perfect opportunity to have citizen input as a parking authority. The public-private partnership with shared space is the future, and including housing in that parking structure. So there's no free parking at all, and we're going to have to realize that. But the stores and the customers want parking. So I look forward to working with the CRA and using the data that parking study proves that we do need parking. So again, it's decisions that have to be made, and the longer we put them off, the further behind we get in moving to the future. That's it.
Well, it's going to be a 30-second question. Zinger. We're going to start with Mari Hardy and work straight down the line, and then Richard Garcia. All right, all the timekeepers ready? Thank you very much. Reputation. How do you feel about changing the name of the city to Lake Worth Beach? And how much do you think it would cost? Please do not reply with, I will respect whatever the voters decide. Go, please.
Before I get to that, which should be a short answer, I just want to say, saying that people don't come here because they can't find parking is like Yogi Berra saying that no one goes there anymore, it's too crowded. The fact that we have a quote-unquote parking problem shows you that there are plenty of people willing to come here and find a place to park. I don't want to spend your tax dollars building things that you can't unbuild. My answer to the Lake Worth Beach thing is I appreciate giving the voters the opportunity to vote for it. I personally will be voting no. Frankly, if I had my druthers, I would actually choose Lake Worth by the sea. So,
my druthers was Lake Worth Shores, so as far as the beach, again, of course, I will respect what the voters do. We will hope to implement this in a way that gives all the advantages that people are hoping to gain from it. 15 seconds. I would actually think if we do I'm going to be voting yes, just so we can stir up the mojo. Perhaps we can make it part of a bigger rebranding. I know that we have history, but we have a great history museum, and this is just another chapter. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Ross.
Change is, a lot of people don't like change. I think that there are good arguments to change the name. A lot of momentum is in the works now, and a name change that we are moving to a new day as Lake Worth Beach would be great. I'm not going to take you said not to answer the citizen input, but this is a perfect opportunity to have citizen input into whether we want to change the name or not.
Thank you. Tom Copeland, you'll have your 30 seconds, 2 minutes at the end.
I was actually hoping to see if I can pull that. It's because it's not that crucial.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sure.
Thank you. All right.
Absolutely.
So as a marketing director of a law firm, a big regional law firm, we spend millions of dollars in advertising that I run those budgets. I am absolutely for a name change, no question about it. It is an opportunity to rebrand and to put ourselves out there and create some new reputations about ourselves. Here's what I will say. I haven't heard anybody answer the question of how much it'll cost. I can try to answer it. I can take a stab at it, knowing from what I know of signage, it'll cost probably a little bit less than $250,000 because you have to think about the pylons, and the biggest expense would be the water tower. So not that much money. Thank you. And it would be over time. Thank you.
Richard Garcia.
I'm against it completely. Some of you may know, I've been working on a solution with the U.S. Postal Service, and that is to remove Lake Worth as the designation from the other zip codes that have our name. Once that's removed, then we are just Lake Worth. Now, we have an issue with 3 carrier routes that are in 6-1. Part of that process would be converting those. We need to defend our identity, not change it.
Thank you. Okay, the big rebuttal button has been pulled by Tom Copeland. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I want to address a few things. We are not losing our identity with a name change. Our identity is in our history, it's in our culture, it's in our downtown, it's in our beach complex, it's in our green spaces, it is in our city, it's ingrained in our city. We are not losing it. That's number one. Thank you. Thank you. Not losing identity. Our identity is up to us to behold. It has nothing to do with what our name is. Number two, this idea that we can just waltz into the post office and say, hey, postmaster, need you to fix this for me, okay? I don't even know where to begin with that. This is the post office we are talking about, guys. Please use common sense. I would also say that, again, I just want to reiterate a couple of things. Change is scary. I get it. Change is scary. But sometimes it's necessary. Personally, I would have liked to see a name change happen a little bit later, after my term, after my first term in office. After we do some of the stuff that's on here, some of the stuff that's more important. But the fact that it's coming up right now, it's a good opportunity for us to create and rebrand our identity. We can hold our identity. We are not losing our identity, guys. The identity of Lake Worth is you guys. It's you. It's not in our name. It will do a lot for us, both for tourism. People will understand that we have a beach. People don't know that we have a beach. I'm thoroughly convinced of that. It's an opportunity, guys. And that's what my campaign is all about. My campaign is about opportunity. So if you're not afraid of change, then let's get on board with this. Let's move this thing forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've had another pull by Richard Garcia. Richard Garcia, you have 2 minutes.
You know, there is that whole adage that the only people that want change is the bright babies with dirty diapers, and that's true in a sense. But here, to suggest that we're waltzing into the post office, I don't know if you know this, I produced the Palm Beach Community Educator for the School District of Palm Beach County. It's the 32-page thing that you get with the adult and community education classes in it. I mail out 2 million of these a year. I'm dealing with the highest level postal official in South Florida, the director of it, and the city attorney's office, and I'm talking about Christy Godot, by the way. This is absolutely solid, is what we were told to do. Write the letter, give it to him, he'll put it in front of the right people. It's how the process is. We can't just say we want to be 33460 because they won't do that. They've told senators, no, you can't just have one zip code. But the greater project is to remove our name, Lake Worth, from everywhere else. Because that's what the situation is, right? It's Lake Worth, we see crime in Lake Worth. Whether it's Lake Worth or Lake Worth Beach, do you call Delray Beach, or you call it Delray? You call it Delray, Boynton, Deerfield, Pompano. It's not going to change anything until we change the designations of the other zip codes. It costs nothing from the post office to do that at all. It's part of the service that they provide. In fact, 6-7 has already had themselves redesignated as a secondary to Wellington. They want to be Wellington as a primary. 4-9 was Green Acres as their secondary to Lake Worth. They had that changed to Wellington because they didn't want to be Green Acres out there. They don't want to be Lake Worth on the east side of 441 in horse country. They want to be Wellington. And we want to be Lake Worth. We don't want them to be Lake Worth either. All the crime stats from there get dumped on our 37,000 people. It's not like all the people there and all the crime and it homogenizes itself out. It gets dumped on our 37,000 people, and this is the way to change it, not by changing our name. It's a marketing ploy and a legacy play is what this is.
All right, Mr. Garcio, don't sit down. We're going to come right back up to aisle. We've got a 1-minute question. We, the City of Lake Worth, have personnel for marketing information, or excuse me, for public information and marketing. How do you grade the job in which they are marketing the city, and how would you improve it? 1 minute.
It's a C+. We want to talk about the beach and people wanting to know that we have a beach. That's what SEO is for, search engine optimization, and we don't have any of that going on. If you search for beach in South Florida, Lake Worth should come up as a beach. I don't think that the website for the city is being properly maintained. There are no minutes for many of the advisory boards, I can tell you that, and none of the backup agendas or the videos for that stuff. There's just old data on the website, so we need to have that all. We really need to have a webmaster to go along with Ben. He shouldn't have to be doing everything all at once. I think he's done a great job during crisis, right? When we have these, we had 39 updates from Ben and the city when we had Hurricane Irma blow through here. So at least he's getting that sort of stuff out there. We get our periodic stuff happening, but we're not doing the best job that we can, particularly with the city's website, which is where all our information should be stored and readily accessible.
Thank you. Tom Coker?
Yeah, great question. So, how would I grade the job? I would say, given that it's one person, it's an unfair question, but I think Ben is doing the best he can with the limited resources he can. That he has at his disposal. For one guy, okay, we are a city of 37,000 people. We have a lot going on. We all know that. One guy handling it is absolutely inefficient. Again, just drawing on my experience as a marketing director for the law firm that I work at and also doing all the marketing for my wife's real estate company. I also owned a web development company before, so I'm very familiar with SEO. But I just want to say that we need a marketing and communication strategic plan. Okay, the way that you do this is you prioritize what information is most important to get out first, and then you build a team around that plan in order to execute it. I think we could find room in the budget for it. I think it should stay in the leisure services department because I think there's a home for that. And this could be everything from city happenings and city going-ons, getting those meeting up.